and welcome back to my channel, and it's still your girl Fentola. Now yes, it's been 3 days of some exciting Champions League games with Manchester City playing Inter Milan. That's literally a repeat of 2022 final. Yeah, 2022 final, and this time around it ended in a draw. AC Milan losing at home to Liverpool 3-1. We also saw Bayern Munich. It was a serious big beating for Bayern Munich, and obviously that took them to the top of the table. But we are going to do a rundown of some of the results and talk about some of them which happened on Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And of course, we're also going to do the league fixtures for the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and the weekend fixtures for each of this league. But let me start off with some of the results on Wednesday for the Champions League. It was quite interesting. Bologna, who did so well last season playing against Shakhtar Donetsk. However, the game ended 0-0. Sparta Prague dismantled RB Salzburg 3-0. Celtic, who has been doing amazing. I think the last time we I'm talking of Chelsea now, the last time they played them, they literally dismantled Chelsea. So I'm not even surprised. I think when they get teams who are not so good defensively, and even when they are defensively resolute, Celtic is a very stubborn team. They're a Scottish side, and they've been one of the consistent sides that have won the trophy in consistently for years. So I'm not even surprised seeing them do well in the Champions League. They usually always struggle when it comes to the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, but they always do well in group stages. But this time around, they did beat Slovan Bratislava 5-1. It was a big one there. And then Borussia Dortmund obviously defeated Club Brugge 3-0. Manchester City and Inter Milan played out a 0-0 draw. Then I'm not even surprised much with that game, because I feel like the players have been struggling with the amount of games, and I'm talking of Man City now, have been struggling with the amount of games they have to play, and probably we are seeing the effect of it in this game. However, I think that fixtures in the Champions League can be quite tricky. It's not always as easy in quotes when you play in the league games compared to the Champions League. The Champions League is a different ball game entirely, and this is a team that Manchester City has played before. Yes, they didn't play them in their house, but they're a team that literally knows how to handle them. The last time they played Inter Milan, it ended 1-0, and it was just a lucky goal that was scored. So this time around, I knew the game was going to end goalless, and it wasn't a surprise at all. PSG also struggled to play Girona. I'm not surprised, as I said, because I feel like Girona is a very stubborn side. PSG, looking at the results they've had in the league over the past 3 games, I knew it was going to be tough for them to play against Girona. They're a very stubborn team. They're very strong, defensively. They know how to counter-attack. And so PSG couldn't do much of the, attacking game. They had to be, both attacking and defensively wise, not to, keep a high line against them. And that was why the game ended 1-0. And I do think that unfortunately, even though the goal came from their goalkeeper, it was in the 90th minute. Unfortunately, for Girona, it happens. That's football. But those are the games on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, as I said, Champions League now goes to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And although I think it's for this first group of games, subsequently it probably change. But for Thursday games, it was Bayern Leverkusen defeating Feyenoord 4-0. Now, when I spoke about what's his name now, a Nigerian striker, Victor Boniface, in my last video, I knew he was going to come up with something. That guy is balling. I mean, we needed to have seen some of the assists he gave. It was exquisite, and that is what he does. It was 4-0 win for Bayern Leverkusen in that one. Benfica were lucky to get away with a 2-1 win over Sevna Sevska Sevsda and Atalanta and Arsenal played out a goalless draw. Now I think the game was a bit boring for me. Yeah, some people said, "Oh, it was exciting." Considering the fact that Arsenal didn't have their usual midfield maestros, Martin Odegaard, and some of the other players. But I think they did well. They were not playing at home, and Atalanta are Europa League champions. So yeah, I knew it was going to be a tough game, and they did just okay, making sure that they don't lose the game. They got at least a draw or a point from that one, and then Atletico Madrid came from a goal down to winning 2-1. Now I think Atletico Madrid have been stylishly getting results. Like you see them play 3-0, 4-0, 4-1. They're just taking the results one by one. And I think it's going to be a tough one for the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid to push them aside. Although they've always been a threat, for these other two teams. Finishing third in the league, sometimes finishing fourth, qualifying for Champions League. They've done that for the past how many years now? I can't even remember. They've been consistently, qualifying for the Champions League. And Simeone, their coach, has been doing so well with that team. I don't even think the club is ready to let him go anytime soon. But you know what? They got the result needed, beating RB Leipzig 2-1. I didn't know what happened to RB Leipzig, but they lost the game almost in the last minute. Well, that happens in football. Then Brest beat Storm Graz 2-1. And then the shocker for me is Barcelona losing to Monaco. Now, yes, people will say, oh, it's 10-man Barcelona with Pedri getting a red card in that one. Please, like I've seen teams who go down 10 men, they end up winning the game, or worst case scenario, they get a draw. What happened? Did they completely lose it? Because obviously they got the red card 10 minutes into the game, and they had about 80 minutes, 75 minutes to ensure that they don't lose the game. They eventually did. And yes, I know it happens in football, but I don't want people to come up with the excuse of, oh, it's 10-man Barcelona. Of course, Monaco is not a bad side. They are currently, I think, in the top four on the league table right now. So, yes, they are not a pushover side. But with the current form that Barcelona carried into that game, they had won literally all 5 straight games they've played in the league. Well, I wouldn't say, oh, I was expecting them to lose the game. No, I wasn't. But I knew that they were going to, have a tough one on their hands, because Monaco has not been a bad side either. So them losing the game was a disappointing one, but I'm sure they're going to learn from it and move on. Now to the games for the weekend. The Champions League, I think, for me, is quite interesting. Looking at some of the fixtures, just as I said, AC Milan losing to Liverpool 3-1. PSG playing out a 1-0 win. Monaco beating Barcelona 2-1. Some interesting results, and I think some of them, yes, were expected. Some of them not so much, like the Barcelona game. I didn't think they were going to lose the game, but I also didn't think they were going to win it, because Monaco was a tough side. But some of those results will tell you how big the Champions League is, because you honestly never can put aside any team. That is what the Champions League brings for you, and that is why UEFA is increasing the number of games now, because they know they just know that there are going to be some interesting matches like this, like the ones that happened over the last 3 days or so. But let's now go into the Premier League, that is obviously starting off tomorrow, and is obviously going to be a London derby between West Ham United and West Ham and Chelsea. Now, this fixture in itself is always a tricky one for Chelsea. I think in the last 2 games they've played, Chelsea have struggled to get a win against them. And it's so going to be even tougher now, because West Ham is playing at home. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I want to believe that they'll be able to get a win in that game. I want to believe that Chelsea will be able to get a win. Worst case scenario, worst case scenario, it's going to be a draw, because Chelsea also have not done badly. They've won They won their last game against Bournemouth. I know it was literally almost a last minute game, but they won it irrespective. So yeah, it's not a bad one. And then to the other games on Saturday, it is Aston Villa who had an amazing outing also in the Champions League on Tuesday. I think they will be facing Wolves, and they are playing at home. So I do think they are going to play that out of the park. They are definitely going to be Wolves. Probably by 2 goals or even more. John Duran has been one consistent player for them that has, got goals for them in the last 2 games, 3 games. Yes. So if he starts, definitely, I do believe that there's probably going to be a goal for him or an assist in that one. And so Fulham also is going to be hosting Newcastle United, Leicester City against Everton. Everton have been on a poor run of form at the moment. I think they're number 19 on the table. They are struggling. There's a lot of rumor that the coach is going to get sacked, and I do feel pity for him because I think that club is going through a lot of struggle, and so they didn't get to buy a lot of players in the summer transfer market, and now they're still having to struggle with finances. I don't know how they're going to do, but one thing for Everton is they just always try not to get relegated. So we'll have to look at their game a game at a time. But for them, they're going to be facing Leicester City, who are returning to the Premier League. I think they've had a up and down result so far in the last 4 games that have been played in the Premier League. So they are playing at home this time around. I don't know how well they're still going to do against Everton if they decide to be a better Everton side on Saturday. But Liverpool is going to have to come back, probably come back from their loss over the weekend when they face Bournemouth. I feel they should be able to handle Bournemouth. Bournemouth, yes, gave Chelsea a tough time over the last weekend, but I don't think it's going to be an easier work for them when they face Liverpool. Yes, I know Liverpool played at home against Northampton Forest when they lost that game 1-0. But I think that's just one off game for Liverpool anyway. So, but I believe they should be able to win this one. Southampton is going to be playing their fellow newly promoted side, Ipswich Town. That's going to be a very interesting game because I think the last time Ipswich Town played Southampton in the Championship, Ipswich won. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Tottenham is going to be playing Brentford. Now that is also another London derby because Brentford is also in London. So it's going to be tricky to see how that ends out. But Tottenham is playing at home, so it should be probably a draw at worst because, as I said, it's a London derby. And Crystal Palace is going to face Manchester United. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, Manchester United won 7-0 against Burnley, defeated Southampton 3-0, and it's going to be a walk in the park for them against Crystal Palace. Trust me, it is not, because Crystal Palace is playing at home at Selhurst Park, and the last time Manchester United played this same Crystal Palace at home, they lost 4-0. They lost 4-0. So, and with the way they're even playing at the moment, you don't even know what to expect from them. Honestly, they can turn up good today and turn off bad tomorrow. So, it's going to be an interesting one to see how Manchester United turns out in that game. And then on Sunday, it is going to be just 2 games, and Brighton is going to be facing off Nottingham Forest, and the big game of the bench is Manchester City against Arsenal. Now, I know the last time these two played, it ended in a 0-0 draw. And yes, people expected that, oh, Man City is going to blow them out of the park. And it didn't end up happening. They played out a goalless draw. This time around, because I think Manchester City is struggling. I think they've been struggling actually in their last 2 matches. The last time they played against West Ham, they managed to win 3-1. Their game against Inter literally 2 days ago, they played out a goalless draw. Arsenal has not done badly, and I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park for Arsenal. It probably will end another draw, maybe 1-1 draw or 2-2 draw, but I do feel there are going to be goals in this game. If for any reason, maybe worst case scenario, Manchester City will pick all 3 points, but that's the worst case scenario. Now I just hope that's not the case for Arsenal anyway. They've not done badly, with the injuries they've had to go through also. It's going to be a disappointment for them to lose that game. But, well, they're playing the champions, so they should be prepared for anything that comes their way. Now, to La Liga, it is match day 6 for La Liga, and some of the games that will be starting off today is Deportivo Alaves playing Sevilla. Now these two teams have been quite interesting for me this season. Sevilla has not been doing particularly well, and then Deportivo Alaves have not done badly, and Deportivo Alaves are playing at home, so it's going to be an interesting one to see. And then on Saturday is Real Valladolid against Real Sociedad. That is going to for me, I think that's more like a derby self. It's going to be very tricky but very interesting. Osasuna against Las Palmas, Valencia versus Girona. Girona who did, yeah, they unfortunately lost to PSG during the weekend, during the week, but I think they are going to do all right. And then Real Madrid, who are going through some injury issues, are going to have to play Espanyol for the last game on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it is Getafe against Leganes, Athletic Club against Celta Vigo, Villarreal against Barcelona, who I want to hope they'll be able to get over the loss during the week, and then probably get back to winning ways. They are currently top of the table with 15.5 wins out of 5. So I don't think they should have, a problem getting over the loss. And then Raul Vallecano to play Atletico Madrid, who have been playing some good football. I think they're currently third on the table. So it should be an easy one for Rayo Atletico Madrid over Rayo Vallecano, even though they are playing away from home. But yeah, it shouldn't be a tough one. And then on Monday, it is Real Betis against Mallorca. Now, those are the games in La Liga match day 6 over the weekend. And then we move over to Syria. Syria match day 5, and of course the games also start off today. Now Cagliari will be taking on Empoli, Hellas Verona to host Torino. Those are the two games for today. And then tomorrow, which is Saturday, Venezia against Girona, Juventus against Napoli. I think those two are going to be quite interesting. Napoli have not done badly, actually. Looking at the first two games, I think that they lost. Okay, they lost one, they drew one, and they won the last two games. They've not done badly. And also Juventus have also not done badly. So I think it's going to be an interesting game between those two. Napoli is number 2, Juventus is number 4. So whoever wins probably moves to number 1 on the table. Lecce will host Parma, and that's the last game on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we have Fiorentina against Lazio. We have Monza against Bologna. Roma, who have signed a new coach now, will also host Udinese, who are literally on top of the table. I don't even know how Udinese got to the top of the table, but they are getting the result and they are there. So Inter Milan versus AC Milan is going to be a derby, a Milan derby. That is going to be an interesting one. AC Milan also, I think, is going to struggle a bit against Inter Milan, but when it comes to derby, you literally have to throw out form, because you might think, oh yes, they both play in the same stadium, San Siro, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. AC Milan lost their game during the Champions League during the week. Inter Milan played the goalless draw against Man City. So you don't know what to expect from these two. But Inter Milan is playing at home, and it's going to be, I think it's going to probably end maybe in a draw, maybe worst case scenario. But the last time Inter Milan actually played AC Milan, what's it called? Inter Milan had the upper hand. They beat them 2-1 the second time, the first time 5-1. So Inter Milan has had upper hand in this derby. So hopefully the story can change. You never, I don't know how it's going to change for AC Milan, but that's football for you. Really never can tell what could happen. And then on Monday, it is Atalanta versus Como. Now, those are the games over the weekend for Syria. And then in Bundesliga, the German league, we have some of the games. Also, Bayern Munich are actually on top of the league right now. It's I think match day 4 in Bundesliga. Games start off also today is Augsburg against Mainz. Mainz. Augsburg is at home. And on Saturday, we have Bochum against Austin Klein. We have Edenham against Freiburg. Union Berlin against Offenheim. Werder Bremen against Bayern Munich. Hurricane has been scoring a handful for those people. Like, they are literally a maniac right now. Hurricane is just Musiala is firing, everybody is firing. Ha! Well, I'm sure they're going to be with the Bremen again. So yeah, it should be a clean win for them. And then Eintracht Frankfurt is going to host Borussia Mönchengladbach. That is also going to be an interesting game to watch out for. And then on Sunday, it is Bayern Leverkusen, who at the moment I think they're flying. They're doing all right. They're not doing badly. They're hosting Wolfsburg. Stuttgart is playing Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund are second of the table with 7 points, and St. Pauli, who are newly promoted, are hosting RB Leipzig. So those are some of the games that would be happening over the weekend. But I do think there are some games that I feel is going to be quite interesting to watch. The Milan Derby is one, Man City Arsenal in one in the Premier League. But yeah, they go around like that, to see some of the games that I think people should watch out for. And then the last league is obviously League On, where PSG are top of the table with 12 points. They are playing their fifth game also. It's match day 4 in League On, and match day 5, sorry, in League On. The matches also start off today with Nice playing Saint Etienne. Saint Etienne right now are not doing so well, to be honest. They are pretty, pretty doing badly. They have 1 point from 3 games, I think, and it's just been bad for them. Lille, and on Saturday, Lille is hosting Strasbourg. Rennes is playing against Lens. Then Reims is hosting PSG, who are top of the table, winning 4 games out of 4. Probably it could be their fifth win out of 5. So yes, it's going to be a difficult one for Reims. And then on Sunday, Monaco, who defeated Barcelona during the week in the Champions League, will play Le Verrier. Angers will play Nantes. Brest will host Toulouse. Montpellier will host Orient. And it's another derby. There are a lot of derbies this week. Yeah, there are a lot of derbies. There's Olympic Derby, yes. There's Milan Derby, and there's another derby. That's quite interesting. There are a lot of games, anyways. But the last game is Lyon against Marseille. They are both Olympic Lyon and Olympic Marseille. So those are the games that will be happening this weekend. Please share with me what you think the results are going to be in some of the derby games, and even some of the games like Man City against Arsenal. Do you think it's going to be a win? Do you think it's going to be a draw? Do you think Pep is going to come out guns blazing against Arsenal to make sure that they stay top of the league, 5 wins out of 5? Tell me what you think. Don't also forget to share, subscribe, and put in the comment section what you think the results are going to be this weekend. Anyway, that's it from your girl Fentala, and of course, make sure to enjoy your weekend. And when I come back your way again, it's going to be us talking about the results of the games over the weekend. Thank you and bye.